I'm definitely a chicken newbie. I had learned enough to know that I wanted to have chickens, but I had no idea how to get started. Luckily, there are plenty of people who do. I asked my friends at Shoppers Supply for help. They walked me through everything I would need and what I need to do to add chickens to my yard. Once you've decided that chickens are right for you, there are a few things that you need to do to get started. In today's video, I'll share the basic supplies that you need for new chicks and young chickens. But if we haven't met before, my name's Angela from Growing in the Garden, and I love to share garden inspiration and helpful tips so you can be successful in your own garden. Those young chicks are so cute, I couldn't wait to bring them home. It's important to gather what you need before you bring those chicks home. You want to have everything set up and ready to go. So the first thing that you're going to need is a brooder box. A brooder box basically is a safe place for those chicks to be, that they can be warm enough and have access to food and water. A brooder box doesn't have to be complicated, but it does need to contain a few important things. You should plan on about 1 square foot for each chick for the brooder box. So decide how many chickens you're going to have and have a correct sized brooder box. You also don't want to have any holes in that. Chicks are little and they can squeeze through really small openings. So what can you use? You can use a galvanized tub, you can use a plastic tub, or even a cardboard box. Any of those things will work. If you're using a plastic tub like I did for a brooder box, it's very important to keep that heat source away from the plastic. It will melt and it could cause a fire. The next thing you'll need to do is decide what bedding material that you'll put in the box. The most common bedding materials are pine shavings or chopped straw. So you want to line the bottom of your brooder box with those. I chose chopped straw. It's a great choice for organic gardeners who want to compost that straw with the droppings. One of the most important things about a brooder box is going to be the heat source. Typically, mother hens will warm their chicks, but if there's not a mother hen, then we have to make sure they are warm enough. Baby chicks can't regulate their own temperature. So we typically do that with a heat lamp. The chicks are going to use that lamp to regulate temperature. When they're young, the lamp is going to be closer to the brooder box, and as they get older, you will move it further away. And your chicks are going to tell you if you have the right temperature. If you see all of those chicks huddled under that lamp trying to get together for warmth, then it's probably not warm enough. On the other hand, if you see those chicks getting as far away from that heat lamp as they can, then it's probably too warm. If your chicks are happily pecking and chirping and just kind of milling around, then you've probably got the right temperature. As the chicks get older, you're going to move that light further away. You'll remove that heat lamp when the chicks get to be about 5 or 6 weeks and they are fully feathered. Once you have your brooder box with the bedding and the heat source, the next thing to think about is the food and the water. Baby chicks, and chickens for that matter, need a constant source for fresh water and fresh food. But young chickens are very small, and so you want to size your feeder for your food and your water accordingly. As the chickens get larger and move into the coop, then they're ready for larger sized waterers and feeders. What about food? What do you feed your baby chicks and chickens? Baby chicks have different nutrient requirements than chickens who are laying eggs. So it's important to use a food designed for chicks. Look for organic feed that has 18% protein. Older chickens' nutrition needs change, so at about 18 weeks you're going to transition them to a layer feed that will have less protein. And at that point, if you want, you can begin giving them the treats or the scratch feed. Scratch feed has less protein, less nutritional value, so don't give any scratch feed to chicks or young chickens. Finally, the best part, the chickens. It's important to research which breeds do well in your area. Here in the low desert of Arizona, heat tolerance is the #1 requirement. There are also other considerations like cold tolerance in other areas, the amount of eggs they lay, the size of eggs they lay, whether or not the chickens get broody very often, and even their temperament. Research chicken varieties and talk to local chicken experts like I did at Shoppers Supply. I chose the Plymouth Barred Rock for several reasons. Number one, they're very heat tolerant. Also, they're good layers. They lay a lot of eggs. They're also friendly and excellent foragers. I need those chickens to hunt down all the scorpions in my yard. By week 6, the chicks should be fully feathered, and if it's warm enough outside, it's time to move them into the coop. Ideally, chicks will not require a heat source when moving them from the brooder into the coop. As long as nighttime temperatures don't get below 65, then you're good to go. So what should you look for in a coop? Plan on 2 to 3 square feet of coop size per chicken. So your coop size often determines the number of chickens you can have. It's also important to have nesting boxes. A coop should have 1 nesting box for every 3 to 5 hens. There should also be some roosting bars in that coop. Unless your chickens are completely free range, meaning they can wander the entire yard during the day and you put them in the coop at night, you will need some sort of run. A run provides additional space for those chicks and chickens during the day. My chickens free range each morning for a couple of hours and then again at night while I'm out in the garden. I can't tell you how much fun it has been to have these chickens in the garden with me. Plan on 5 to 10 square feet in your run per chicken. A run provides a safe place for those chickens to be during the day to keep them away from predators. Here in the low desert, there are a couple of other important things to consider for chickens. Because it gets so hot, I also wanted to make sure I added shade. So I added shade cloth to my run along the top and some of the sides to make sure that there was plenty of shade for the chickens. I also added a mister to help cool the chickens during the hottest times of day. I have it connected to a hose with a timer, and that mister goes off for a few hours each afternoon during the hottest times of day. I knew I wanted chickens for the fertilizer and for the scorpion killers, but I didn't realize how much I would enjoy chickens. I am really loving having them out in the garden with me. If you'd like to see more videos about chickens, let me know in the comments. If you have your own chicken tips to share, I would love to hear them. Thank you so much for watching.